So what I want everybody to understand and realize is things are happening right now, and these are the signs.
And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth, and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. CHIZAYON, Revelation 13:12-13 Cepher.
From the bruising battlefields of Ukraine, from the moment Russia rolled in its tanks in Ukraine, this war has been a testing ground for new and deadly weapons. From the thermite bombs to hypersonic missiles to weapons of all kinds and forms that are being tested in this conflict. Let me in fact show you this video. Now this is a scene from a Ukrainian town of Volodar. This is a quaint town that is located in the Donetsk Oblast. It shows what appear to be white flames that are incessantly raining down from the skies, causing destruction on a scale that simply cannot be imagined.
Та пока не попало, пока не попало. Если что, буду сбивать. В курсе, в курсе. Да. Ну, я ж думав, що це по трьом чоловікам фосфор кинули.
But this video has in fact gone viral online with multiple clips doing the rounds. The question is this: what exactly are these things and how lethal are they really? Now, reports say that they are incendiary bombs. Let me explain as to how they work. To start with, these bombs are launched from a BM-21 Grad system. There is a Soviet-era multiple launch rocket system. They are fitted inside of 122mm Grad 9M22S rocket. The warhead contains about 180 unfused incendiary elements. They are ejected when the missile is just a few hundred feet above its target. Each ML5 is a hexagonal-shaped magnesium casing packed with thermite-type pyrotechnic compositions, which is why, on first glance, they may look like fireworks. But make no mistake, these are not fireworks. These are bombs that are designed to ignite vegetation, fuel, and buildings. Each bomb has a burn time of about 2 minutes to increase the chance of fire. These bombs are terrifying anyone who is unfortunate enough to be caught underneath them. They rain like white-hot flames, scorching the earth, leaving nowhere to hide for the people. And this is where things actually begin to get murkier. You see, the use of these kind of incendiary ammunition against civilian targets is outlawed by a United Nations treaty. This is a treaty that has been signed by Russia, Ukraine, and at least 123 other nations. But despite of this, such weapons have been used repeatedly by the Russian forces. In 2016, the Syrian opposition had accused Russia of using these bombs in the Syrian civil war. It said that the Bashar al-Assad regime was using these bombs to terrorize civilians. 6 years on, these bombs have been spotted again, and this time they've been spotted in Ukraine. The question is this: can something be done about the usage of these kind of weapons on civilian populations?
And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? CHIZAYON, Revelation 13:4 Cepher. And it was given unto him to make war with the Kochim, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. CHIZAYON, Revelation 13:7 Cepher.
They're also pushing for global vaccine passports through a series of proposed amendments to the international health regulations, which goes back to 2005. A legally binding instrument that imposes various conditions on 196 different member states. Vaccine passports would be digital and paper records of your health records, your travel history, everywhere you go, every person you visit, every train you're on, every plane you're on, every rest stop you stop at. Think about that, right? Every rest stop on the highway. You think you have anonymity on the turnpike? You don't. Your vaccine status for all vaccines, and an assessment of your threat level based on various data points about you. This is not a conspiracy theory, guys. This is in their documents, specifically in their documents. Your threat level would be readable, and it would be shareable according to the WHO countries. This is in their document across the globe, and it could be used to stop you and your luggage from crossing the borders. Again, in the paperwork. We went through it today. We went through the documentation. Here are the things that the WHO would be able to do based on the changes to this document. Okay, so let's go through their document. Article 18, recommendations with respect to persons, baggage, cargo, containers, conveyances, goods, and postal parcels. Look at all this. Recommendations issued by the WHO to state parties with respect to persons may include the following advice. No specific health measures are advised. Review travel history in affected areas. Review proof of medical examination and any laboratory analysis. Require medical examinations. Review proof of vaccination or other prophylaxis. Require vaccination and other prophylaxis. That's hard to say quickly. Please place suspect persons under public health observation. In other words, detain them, throw them into a lockdown. So they could detain you.
Wow.
They could stop you. They could require a medical exam on the spot, quarantine you, and place you under observation.
And it's not, and when they say place suspect, that's not like they're saying, hey, come on over here, we're going to put you in here. No, when they place you, you pick something up and you place it somewhere, right?
Right.
That means you are forcefully getting placed where they want you.
Well, and we already saw that in Australia. We saw that in other parts of the world, being placed in camps, held against your will, people escaping and telling the world about these places. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I mean, it's crazy. So
we also know that, detaining people, especially in the U.S., like detaining people often ends up in the people getting shot. So, I mean, is that what they're gonna end up doing? Like, if you're resisting arrest at this point, like that's a dangerous game.
Yeah, and we saw the data in the newsletter today. We covered how so many people behind bars ended up dying due to negligence, basically, during the pandemic. So, being locked up, put away, held against your will by the government, because they don't like your status, your vaccine status. They could also take possession of your luggage or other possessions, according to the documents. Now, Reclaim the Net published changes to this document today, and they did a good job. And here are the countries that submitted proposed changes. This is kind of stunning. So the countries reviewed this. These countries on the list here: Armenia, Bangladesh, Brazil, Czech Republic, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Namibia, New Zealand, Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, Switzerland, USA, Uruguay. Do you notice anything funny, though, on this list? Keep it up here for a second. Do you notice anything funny on this list, guys? Why is Brazil on this list? When this was submitted in 2022, when Jair Bolsonaro was still in office, didn't he say he was not going to go along with anything that gave the WHO power over Brazil? He told us that publicly. Yet there they are, making proposals for vaccine passports in 2022. So in the draft, you can find this language for international vaccine passports. Here's the vaccine passport language proposed draft. When a public health emergency or of international concern has been declared for the purposes of entry and exit of international travelers in a scenario of voluntary vaccination using products still at the research phase or subject to very limited availability, vaccine certificates should be considered approved in accordance with the normal framework of the country of origin, including with reference to the model format of certification and vaccination schedule. And the conditions of digital documents. Paper certificates must be assigned by the clinician indicating the administration of the vaccine or other prophylaxis, or by other duly authorized health professional. Digital certificates must incorporate a means to verify authenticity from an official website. For example, a QR code.
Well, remember what this is saying about the certificates and everything. Like, they just took a lot of powers away from doctors in California to be able to decide what they want to prescribe for people, and saying that you have to follow the exact thing that they're telling you to do. So it's like they're saying in this that you have options, but they're already taking those options away. So it's only going to be a one size fits all solution.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So they're not going to look at it on a case by case basis. It's here's the document. It doesn't matter how old you are, whatever your sort of exemptions are, it doesn't matter. It's all here in your, it's going to be all here in your documentation. They want vaccine certificates to be digital, of course, so that all countries can verify them with a QR code. They call this binational, according to the documents. In fact, most of the countries on this list asked for this standardization of vaccine certificates. So all those countries on that list were like, we need a standard. QR code, digital.
So let's be perfectly clear here. The COVID virus has not went anywhere. And if most of you are like here in the state I stay in, they released the vaccine mandates, meaning in public places, you no longer have to wear a mask. Even in hospitals, you do not have to no longer wear a mask. So what it looks like they're trying to do is to get as many people sick as they can so that they can institute this passport. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is just what's happening. And if you don't believe me, I will go ahead and show you this video.
Health has lifted the mask mandate in healthcare settings. That includes hospitals and nursing homes. CBS 2's Christina Fan joins us live outside Mount Sinai Hospital on the Upper West Side with the details. Christina.
Good morning, Andrea. As we approach 3 years since the pandemic first started, one of the last COVID-era mandates is about to end, finally. Starting today, all masks and face coverings will no longer be required in healthcare facilities in New York. That, of course, includes hospitals, nursing homes, and treatment centers. Instead, the acting state health commissioner says mask policies will fall on individual healthcare facilities to decide. On Friday, the city's vaccine mandate for workers also came to an end. Nearly 2,000 city employees who lost their jobs during the pandemic can now reapply. We asked New Yorkers what this watershed moment means to them.
After 2 years of pandemic precautions, this morning flu season is back with a dangerous vengeance, overwhelming hospitals and stretching medical resources.
You're seeing a tidal wave sweeping across this country right now.
In Northern Virginia, one high school canceled all weekend activities after nearly half the student body came down with flu-like symptoms. Health officials are working to determine why roughly 1,000 students called out sick. The school paper is suggesting a recent crowded school dance could have been a super spreader event. Across a number of states, particularly in the South, confirmed flu cases are higher than usual for this early in the season. Officials are urging people to get their flu vaccines early before the end of October. Experts are predicting a rough few months ahead.
It could be a really bad harbinger of the winter if that's also combined with a COVID-19 surge.
Young children have also been hit especially hard by another virus. The culprit, a respiratory illness known as RSV. In the last 2 weeks, cases have tripled, already surpassing last year's peak.
Because of the last 2 years with stay at home and a lot of virtual activities, many children have not been exposed, leaving our youngest ones, those under the age of 2, with the highest vulnerability.
Across the country, experts fearing a triple-demic could be on the horizon.
COVID cases are climbing. The CDC reporting over 400,000 new infections in the U.S. this week alone, and over 100 million cases have been recorded now since the start of the pandemic. Yahoo Finance's Anjali Kamlani here with the latest. And Anj, certainly alarming, concerning here, seeing this case count rise so quickly.
Absolutely. And we know that, of course, it is the winter season, so respiratory viruses, will take flight. We saw the triple-demic, really impacting hospitals earlier. So now with the new rise in cases, concerns about what is happening in China in particular. Right now, we're looking at 100,000 cases, more than 100,000 cases per day as of yesterday, and that's according to the latest numbers. We do know that so far, no serious climate deaths, but we have seen hospitalizations. And then, of course, going back to what's going on in China, concerns about many different things. Number one, China not giving us the numbers of their daily cases. In addition, not really knowing whether or not the variants that are there that are driving the case rise are going to impact the U.S. It is important to note that we are still seeing some of those same variants here in the U.S., so it's not like they're not here already, but what the impact will be is still yet to be seen. As
Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it has begun to burn. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. Elohim sends the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Ahia shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quakes, and the foundations thereof. The sea arises up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fish thereof also, before Ahia, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bends the bow. His arrows that he shoots are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returns not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me! Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth, and to sow it. Ezra REVIY 4 Ezra 16-24 Cepher. Behold, the word of Ahia, receive it. Believe not the Elohim of whom Ahia spoke. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month brings forth her son. With 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child comes forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to your battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that sells, let him be as he that flees away, and he that buys, as one that will lose. Ezra REVIY 4 Ezra 16:36-41 Cepher.
And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you, when ye depart thence, shake off the dust under your feet for a testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Amorah in the day of judgment, than for that city. Mark 6:11 Cepher.